Do you think it's possible to actually fix traffic in Toronto when on a daily basis it's this bad? 2 summers ago, my colleague Nicole and I reported on how bad traffic due to construction was in Toronto and what was being done about it. Since then, it feels like not much has changed, and sometimes it feels like things have actually gotten worse. That's why we really wanted to take a look at what it would take to fix traffic in the city of Toronto. A recent report found congestion in the Greater Toronto-Hamilton area is costing us $44.7 billion a year, and a survey found more than half of the respondents are considering leaving the region because of traffic, and 32% of them don't see their friends or family as much.
We've got a crisis here we need to deal with. It is having a significant impact on the quality of life of the city and therefore the economy of the city, the ability to grow. We actually need to get it done if we want to have a future.
So we reached out to all kinds of experts, engineers, planners, police officers, business executives, even psychologists, all in a quest to try and figure out how to fix Toronto's congestion problem. It quickly became obvious there isn't just one silver bullet solution that's going to make it all better. And so this is the first of a 3-part series looking at how to fix congestion in the city of Toronto. The City of Toronto is trying. Recently, Council passed its new congestion management plan. One major thing it's looking at, more automated enforcement. Installing cameras to capture vehicles blocking intersections, also known as blocking the box or the Toronto stop, and cameras to catch people driving in dedicated bus lanes, then tickets would get mailed out. So we wondered how much could that help alleviate traffic, especially since Toronto would be the first city in the country to do this. So our quest for answers took us to the United States. The City of Seattle has been running automated enforcement for blocking the box and driving in dedicated bus lanes for more than 2 years now, and it's the only city in North America doing both. As part of Seattle's program, the city's installed cameras at 11 key intersections. The first time a driver is caught blocking the box or driving in a bus lane, the owner of the vehicle gets a warning in the mail. After that, it's a $75 ticket. So far, around 120,000 tickets have been issued. Our first stop here is the Seattle Police Department, where we're going to meet up with an officer who's going to review some traffic footage with us to show us what leads to a ticket.
I'm Officer Dalen with the Seattle Police Traffic Unit. I'm the lead, I guess, with the traffic camera photo enforcement unit. First thing I do is I grab this and I look down. I compare the plate and the vehicle make. Anything I can do to verify that this is the vehicle, I do. If I don't feel I can go to court and testify on this, they get a pass. If I can't read the plate very well, this is Washington, but if I can't, I can always drop down to the sample, and it gives you different samples of the state of Washington. It does it for all the states that I know of in the United States as well as Canada. If I need to go any further, say I can't read that it's a Volkswagen, I can always go down and do a analyzed photograph. So at this point in time, I know this vehicle is number 1 in the bus lane. I've identified the vehicle, so I click accept, and that is now going downtown to the courts for the ticket to be served. Would you want to go over to the block the box?
Yes, please.
Sounds great.
So like right here, technically this little car's blocking the box. But for me, if you can get a wheelchair by him, I'm fine with it. So on this one, the problem with it is that vehicle's still out there, and if any one of these vehicles, or if there's a bus over there, has to move, which that one just did, they get a violation. Plus, you got somebody in the crosswalk. So they're definitely getting a violation. And you press accept, and then it just reloads the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. He's in the crosswalk, he's blocking the bus. To me, that's a total 100% violation. I'm not just ticketing somebody to get the money out of them. I'm ticketing them to make them learn.
Do you feel like having this is helping with traffic in Seattle?
I think it is. I really do. I know 3rd Avenue's helped because the buses can get through there. Before we had this, buses were anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes late. I would hate to imagine what traffic would be like in Seattle without it.
Now that we've had a chance to take in the behind-the-scenes process of how this all works, I want to get a better understanding of just how much this is helping traffic here. Data from Seattle's police department shows at most 45% of drivers that got a warning for driving in a dedicated bus lane also went on to get a ticket. But when it comes to blocking the box, that number is only at about 9%. So does that mean it's working? Let's talk to a traffic engineer with Seattle's Department of Transportation to try and get answers on that.
My name is Andy Merkley. I'm the civil engineering supervisor for Seattle's Vision Zero program. The 8 to 9% rate that we've been seeing for block-the-box cameras is pretty low across all types of cameras that we have experience with in Seattle. And we don't know exactly what's contributing to that. We have seen some minor trends over the course of the implementation of these cameras in reduced volumes of citations being issued over time. But it's been a pretty short pilot period and we haven't had the opportunity to really dig into the data.
You're hopeful, I'm assuming that it'll help.
Yeah, hopeful, and I think just inherently we have seen that enforcement, automated enforcement does change drivers' behavior. It does have a positive impact. So we're expecting to see that. Our primary goals when we set out in piloting these cameras was to improve traffic safety, right? Especially for vulnerable road users, namely pedestrians and those using mobility devices such as wheelchairs. And then secondarily, our goal is to improve traffic congestion.
Do you have any advice for Toronto that's looking to implement exactly what you're doing in Seattle in terms of the cameras in the bus lanes and for blocking the box?
I think some key points of success we found in Seattle's program is to have a well-developed and equitable outreach strategy, making sure that you're informing the public of what's coming, what the regulations are, and making sure that your communications are multilingual to be able to target the communities that might be impacted most by the cameras.
We're back in Toronto and I'm about to speak with Roger Brown. He's the Director of Traffic Management for the city, and I want to get his take on what we learned in Seattle. We got some data from the Seattle Police Department that found at the most, when it comes to blocking the box, only 9% of vehicles that got a warning went on to do it again and actually get a ticket.
That's really impressive. We did very similar with the automated speed enforcement program and quite frankly saw very similar statistics in terms of repeat offenders. The same technology could also be used for situations where we have people illegally blocking bike lanes.
What have you kind of learned from a city like Seattle that's already doing this?
There's a lot of really, really good practices they put in play that we definitely want to try and leverage. Certainly things that even we've done here in the City of Toronto beforehand, like issuing of warning tickets before you go in terms of fully charging people. The technology they use, where they mount the cameras, all those different things.
So how quickly could we see automated enforcement for Block the Box actually be implemented in Toronto?
The plan is to start installing the units during the summertime. They would not be doing enforcement, but rather gathering that sort of data that we would have the ability to use to help build out the constructs for the program itself. Once that is done, then if there are legislative changes, we need to make that appeal to the province. It would probably be another year or so at least before we could sort of see the program coming to life.
And people actually be ticketed.
Yeah, correct.
In the meantime, the city is still trying to deter people the old-fashioned way. Toronto police officers are out at busy intersections to educate drivers about blocking the box and fine them if necessary. A few months ago, tickets went up from $90 to $450 at most intersections.
Really, our objective is, number one, obviously, is safety, but the second thing is we got to get people through. And enforcement absolutely is going to be a piece of that, but education as well.
Since you have people on the ground, what are your thoughts on automated enforcement?
Automation is going to hold people accountable. And really what that means is I don't need to have my police officers out on that corner. I can have them deployed to other areas where public safety is more of a challenge.
So we went to Seattle to look at their automated enforcement program, and I want to play a video of the officer going through the process.
Wow. I'm Maddie Simiaticki. I'm the director of the Infrastructure Institute and professor of geography and planning at the University of Toronto. What's remarkable is how unremarkable it is. It's a system that has all the information you need, that has the data coming in, that has a human who has the expertise and the knowledge of the traffic code who's going over it.
How do you see something like this working in Toronto? How much of a difference do you think it would make?
This type of technology, I think, could play a role in addressing gridlock to some extent. This is like having traffic enforcement agents at scale. This, you can have the entire downtown, for example, covered with this type of technology. You can be doing it much more productively and efficiently. This type of technology will have small, localized impacts. Congestion is a much bigger challenge of too many cars and not enough space. Overall, we need a much broader suite of solutions to actually solve congestion.
So we've looked at a handful of solutions that experts say are actually quite promising, but they say those tools alone are not enough. They actually tell us it'll take a whole array of things that need to work in tandem to fix the issues of traffic here in Toronto, and we'll take a look at those in the next part of our series.